Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron here, New Life Pentecostal Church, Albany, Georgia. We're going to be showing you the journey from Paleo-Hebrew to English. Now, you might think that sounds unique, but actually Paleo-Hebrew through the Greek language has a huge affinity to modern English. And so we're going to take a look at that today, and I'll be periodically bringing this up to kind of show it. This won't be a real long video, but I'll just show you just a few instances like that. And there's actually charts. I've probably got a chart or two somewhere, and I could probably find it on the internet if I took the time, where it'll show you Paleo-Hebrew, Greek, and English. So at some point, the Greeks, maybe through the Phoenicians, through Troy, somehow the Greeks adopted a lot of the Paleo-Hebrew or the Phoenician alphabet. And who was it? It wasn't, maybe it was Agamemnon in the Iliad that some people say was Jewish. I can't remember which one it is now. So it's now, first of all, Paleo-Hebrew, you have the Aleph, Bet are the first two letters, Aleph, Bet. Gimel, Dalet, goes on. And so Aleph, Bet. And this is where, what do we say in English? We say alphabet. What would you say in Greek? You would say alpha, beta. So you can already see, well, there's a lot of affinity here, at least in the first two letters, but it extends to most of the alphabet, not all of the alphabet. Of course, it's only got 22 letters instead of like English has 26 letters, but there's even some nuances there. So there's some good teaching videos on YouTube about this as well. So now let's just take a look at the Aleph here. Now you're going to see, what does that Aleph look like in Paleo-Hebrew and even in Phoenician? It looks like a sideways A. And it represents a yoked oxen, which was considered extraordinarily valuable in the ancient world, the agrarian culture. And so it was the very first letter that they had. And there's even some affinities between Phoenician and Paleo-Hebrew and hieroglyphics. That's yet another chart, but that is not the intent of this video. So we're just going to show you how Paleo-Hebrew, which was the language in all probability that the Pentateuch and all the Old Testament was written in, till Ezra's time anyhow, when a lot of people say that Ezra is the one that gave us the square Hebrew. The Samaritan actually has some affinities with Paleo-Hebrew, but the square Hebrew that is what we call biblical Hebrew today, either pointed or unpointed, even though some of the ancient writings they found had some vowel markings, but they would not be the what are they called? The Yakud. It's been a few years. Vowel markings of modern Hebrew. So, I mean, obviously, you can see the A, the Aleph, is congruent with our A. There's no doubt. That's just there. And even the name, Aleph. And we say alphabet, because it's just the combination of the first two words. Now, look at the B, bet. And you'll notice these are all turned around. And that all goes, if you just turn the bet around, you're extremely close to a B. Now in Hebrew, what is a bet? Like Bethlehem, house of bread. A bet is just a home. And so it's obvious that our B and this B is a two-story home. That the bet, or in Greek, it would be the beta. And so from Paleo-Hebrew to English. And this is the reason I believe God gave English as this perfect receptor language. And Tyndale tried to make it such for biblical translation. And so then you'll see the C, RC, which is Gimel. Now you see how the Gimel is. Now again, just turn it around, because Hebrew is written the exact opposite of English. So look in Paleo-Hebrew and Phoenician at the Gimel. Now, what our C, you just expand that out, take away the intense point. The Hebrew word for camel is Gimel. Gimel. So it's very obvious this is trying to communicate a camel's hump. And if you look at our C, it's very obvious that it's communicating a camel's hump when you write the letter C. And then you get to D, and that would be gamma in Greek, if my memory serves me correctly. And then you get to D. Now look at the Phoenician and the Paleo-Hebrew and how close it is to both our upper and lowercase d. How close it is to our upper and lowercase d. And the word for window or tent door in Hebrew is dalet, which is dalet. What's our D look like? It looks like a tent door. And of course, if you went to the Greek Delta, you would find the same thing. I almost said much the same thing, but really the same thing. And then the he. See if that doesn't look like an E to you. Again, just turn around because they read a different direction. We would go from left to right. They would go from right to left. And maybe that was all part of the confusion of tongues at Babel. I'm not sure. So you can see, the epsilon in Greek. So there's a direct correlation from Paleo-Hebrew and even Phoenician. And if I was to show you, you'd even say in hieroglyphics to English, to modern English, even to the way they say alphabet, aleph bet, and on and so forth. And like in hieroglyphics, it's so fascinating. In linguists, I enjoy studying linguists. I get like the great courses and listen to linguists and just fascinated. There's a wonderful teacher out of Stanford. I think he's actually at another college now in the great courses. But like our H is somebody like praising the Lord. And that comes from like hieroglyphics. Find it fascinating. The word hallelujah begins with an H. So many things. This really helps and revolutionizes our biblical studies. A great portion of the Dead Sea Scrolls were in Paleo-Hebrew. Like when we found the archaeologists, when they found the number 6, 24 through 26, the priestly blessing from the 6th century, the silver temple scrolls. It's in Paleo-Hebrew. The Hezekiah inscription in the Pool of Siloam, that's in Paleo-Hebrew. So much of what we have is in Paleo-Hebrew. And the affinities between Paleo-Hebrew and English are just fantastic. And that's the reason a lot of people would call English the third biblical language. So God bless. I love you. I hope this helps you some in some way.